Welcome everybody to our second membership moment. We have Seth Moliver with Moliver Chiropractic and Bria Ervin with Cadence Living. And Seth, your business is in Davidson and Cadence is in Huntersville. Let's start with Seth. Share a little bit about what Moliver Chiropractic does. And we were having a great conversation offline about chiropractic in general. So would you just share a little bit about your organization, what you cover? You were sharing with Bria that you also work with kids. Would you share a little bit about the firm?
Sure. Bill, thank you for having us. I really appreciate the opportunity. I was just telling you a few minutes ago that chiropractic is really, and I joke, but not really, it's really for anyone with a spine. And it's I use an example all the time about dentistry. People take better care of their teeth than they do of their spine or their body. And the dentists have done a great job to teach everyone that you need to brush your teeth to take care of them. But for some reason, the public doesn't always buy into chiropractic and taking care of your spine. If your spine is working better, then of course your nervous system will work better. Now, of course, we see people of all ages, and of course, most people come in because they're symptomatic, either headaches or back pain, but we're actually seeing a trend towards people that want wellness, that want to stay ahead of that and keep their body working the best that it can. Especially this pandemic, people want to be healthy. So that's kind of chiropractic in a nutshell. And we do serve the Lake Norman area, and we are again located in Davidson.
Well, we're at in Davidson.
We're over at exit 30, right in the Harris Teeter Shopping Center. I always tell people we're right by Davidson Day and the community school, and we're right in that parking lot.
And we're going to share your website in just a second, but let's switch over to Bria. Bria, sure. Tell us a little bit of what is Cadence Living and where are you located?
Absolutely. So thank you again for having our community. We are Cadence Living of Huntersville. We are located right behind the post office, if you're familiar with Gilead Road, and we are about 1 mile away from the hospital. Some of the things that we service here in our community, we are an assisted living and memory care community. Oftentimes, the average age in our community is around 60 years old, and you're going to come in here whether you are thriving independently and just need supportive services through socialization and having more of a community-like environment, or if there's an actual need where your loved one, your elderly loved one, may need supportive services getting up or having some of the things like your meals and your medication management. We're all 24-hour care in the community, and we have about 96 beds here at Cadence.
I was I went to your website and I pulled up Cadence, and you're a franchise. There's a lot of cadences. So if you go down to North Carolina, you can actually pull up Cadence Huntersville. There's some great information about Cadence on the website.
Absolutely.
So do you want to share anything about what do you specialize? I see that you work with memory care. You want to talk to anybody about the specifics of some of the people who are at your community?
Absolutely. So our community, we like to say we thrive and we move to the beat of our own drum, considering our name is Cadence. And so we look at our community as a way to age in place. So a typical day-to-day in the community, we're going to start our day with breakfast. We do restaurant-style dining. A lot of our residents, they've lived wonderful lives, whether they've had prestigious professions or they were at home supporting their loved ones and just being involved in the community. So we like to make sure that all of our services are a well range of all of those things of the residents when they come in. And so one of the first things that we do when you come into the community is we would learn a little bit more of your background and exactly what your baseline is for the care that we would be providing. So you could come in needing services as simple as fixing your utilities, making sure that your meals are prepared, or just exercising, utilizing some of the common areas in the community, whether that be rehabilitation services, whether that be a well-rounded activities program where you could be physical, where you could have social, and then emotional well-being as well. Some of the trainings that a lot of our staff will do upon arrival, we have certified nurses assistants we have nurse on staff, and then we also have an in-house physician. And so essentially, you come in and it's a one-stop shop. You don't have to worry about, okay, can mom get her hair done, or can dad keep up with some of the woodworking, or speak with some of the gentlemen about some of the veterans experiences that they've had. And so once we get a really baseline of that resident, we're going to do a care plan. That care plan just says from A to Z of touch points that we would do to better support those residents. And so with our care staff of nurses, med technicians, we have housekeepers, and then we have those culinary professionals with our meals. They're all trained weekly and almost daily just in regards to what exactly can we do to support that resident. So a food council meeting, less clinical. Okay, what do you love to eat? What do you want to see? Do you want lobster? You want steak, or do you just want soup and sandwich? You'll be surprised, most times it's soup and sandwich. But, you know, just to make sure that we're having special occasions and that they have a dignified experience, those are some of the things that we're going to highlight in the community. And then the training when it comes to experiencing cognitive decline. A lot of our adult children who are looking, they may notice at home where mom or dad may be a little bit increasingly confused or maybe feeling lonely. And so it's a matter of being solution providers and educating them on exactly where that need is and how we can fill it for the residents. And so the training involved, we listened to Tifa Snow. Tifa Snow is a very well known professional when it comes to the Alzheimer's and dementia. We have ongoing trainings that come in and support so that we can manage different changes in behaviors, noticing different variations in their moods, just to make sure that they're smiling, that they're active, and that they're feeling as independent as possible in the community. So overall, we're here to support those residents in whatever need. We say meet you where you are. But if there's things where you need special care, we say we treat them like we would our own grandmother, our own loved one, so that it's a good feeling when they come.
And your target market age range for the resident?
Yes, our target market, I would say the average age in our community is 86 years old. However, if you are independent and still driving at 75, this could be a good option, because at home, what you're doing is you're upkeeping your utilities and you're doing a lot of upkeep. We're here just to kind of be that service for you to sit back and enjoy your latter years here in the community.
Sure. And yeah. Seth, I'm going to share the screen and go back to your website.
Sure.
You can look it up at moliverchiro.com. And looks like you've got a really nice website with new patient services, resources, testimonials.
Thank you.
Do you want to say anything about the website or anything else about the services you provide?
Yeah, I do want to say something since you asked. I want to talk about chiropractic for a minute, because I think a lot of people are confused about chiropractic, because if you go to 10 different offices, you're going to get 10 different personalities, 10 different treatments. And actually, most chiropractors can't agree on what chiropractic is or how it should be rendered. So I encourage people, if they want to seek out chiropractic, make sure it's the right fit for you. And Bria said something that really kind of aligned with me, is meet the people where they're at. And depending on what the people need, it's about them. It's never about me. So in my office, I offer hands-on service, which is the popping and the cracking that people sometimes are a little fearful of. But I promise it's not, it doesn't hurt. It's very gentle. It actually feels pretty good. But for those people that don't like the popping or cracking, I do instrument adjusting, which is computer generated. Very gentle. It takes a reading of the spine with like a tuning fork, gives a gentle tap, and then we take another reading to make sure the body is working better, patient feels better. So it's really, I think like Bria said, it's not one size fits all. It's meeting the people where they're at.
Seth, let me switch gears. You were an essential business, I'm assuming, that
I am.
Stayed open. How though have you adjusted the practice to COVID? I was sharing with each of you that we had two other people that were going to be joining us this morning. One had an HR issue come up, but another had an employee diagnosed positive with COVID overnight, found out, and so she wasn't going to be able to join us today. How have you adjusted your practice to make sure that your patients remain safe?
You know, that's a great question, Bill, because a year ago, and I can't believe it's a year that we're dealing with this, almost a year. When this first happened, I didn't know if I was going to be shut down or not. But I actually, and I will give all the credit to my coach. I have a coach, and he says that you might be shut down, you might be essential, but this is what you need to do. So some of the things we put into place immediately is we stocked up on cleaning supplies, but we also decided to go to one patient at a time. And obviously we had patients that were very excited about coming in and that we were staying open, but we also had patients that were very fearful. So we actually sent out a letter and an email to all our patients saying this is what we're doing. And we obviously wore our masks. We obviously wiped down everything in between. We took temperatures. We did screening at the door. You know, the typical questions: have you traveled? Do you feel okay? Have you been exposed? All those questions. And we really try to limit the patients in our office. And what we did throughout the past year is we really just kept touching base with our patients. And it wasn't like, hey, come in and see us. It was really just, hey, are you okay? Hey, do you need anything? And it was, do you need to talk? Do you need to? And really, it was, when you see a chiropractor, obviously it's more than one time. Mm-hmm. And your practice members really become like family members. And I want to make sure, and most people have come in, and knock on wood, we've been okay with as far as COVID, no outbreaks.
So. Bria, I imagine most of the residents there probably have had their first shot, or at least they're moving toward their first shot, and maybe even the second. But certainly that had to be a lot of anxiety in a community as well as yours about how to keep everybody safe. What did Cadence do to keep everybody safe, and what are you doing now as we move further into getting this virus behind us?
Absolutely. So just like Seth said, we immediately just stocked up on those PPE items that we needed in the event that there were an outbreak in the community, and took an abundant amount of precaution when it came to keeping the building clean. So what we have scheduled is every 20 minutes, we have our maintenance director going around and sanitizing all of the touch points in the building. But most importantly, we had to constrict the residents for just a small moment to make sure that we limited any exposure of coming into the building. So there's no visitors. We've restricted it to only essential workers. And those who are providing those services like rehab or hospice services. The residents, however, there was a period of time where they were quarantining in their unit, but because we've done so well with not having any cases, we were able to have small group settings. They were able to still utilize the dining room, but in that, what we've done is we separated per table. So each resident kind of gets their own little table when coming into the dining room, socially distanced. That way they still have an experience, but there's still precaution taking place. In addition to that, we do test weekly and daily in the building. So we have rapid tests daily so that we can monitor if there were to ever be an exposure. And then we also weekly test our staff as well. With the vaccinations that we have in place, we've already went through our successful first round. And our next one will actually be on the 26th of this month, and the 26th of March as well, where the residents can go ahead and complete those vaccinations. When it came to actually having residents admit into the building, what we asked of those loved ones was to have 2 negative COVID screenings upon arrival. That way, again, we can track anything that could potentially come in the building. And once they're in the building, we've asked that they just quarantine for 7 days until they've peaked into our cycle here in the building of the routine COVID screenings with the rapid testing and the PCR testing. Our corporate team has been extremely supportive. So we have a lot of different signs throughout the building to help remind the staff to continue to take the necessary protocols, as well as on the outskirts and sending our families, again, making sure that our families are feeling supportive because, not having access to your loved one can be extremely hard. We were able to maintain a socially distanced visit throughout the entire year. There was a small period of time where there were no visitors, but they can come to the patio and have a 6 feet socially distant visit if they'd like.
Right.
Or we've utilized a lot of tablets in the community with iPads and Zoom calls where the residents, where it's contactless, they can set it up and have those opportunities with their loved ones as well.
Seth, you're a small business owner.
Yes.
Did you apply for a PPP?
I did apply for the PPP.
Was it successful?
And it was successful. I did get money for payroll and rent. And I don't know if it's forgiven, but I assume it will be.
Yeah.
But I did apply. I did get the money. And it was pretty seamless once they sort of figured it out.
You want to share who you worked with?
I worked with actually Truliant. And
Okay.
I actually reached out to about 3 or 4 banks. I actually put in applications at three different banks because, again, we didn't know if we were going to be able to stay open, if we were going to shut down. And again, I have a business coach, and he told me that I better apply for the money and I better get it.
And that kept your doors open.
It certainly helped a lot.
Yeah. Bria, did Cadence have any kind of assistance, small business assistance, or any kind of grant or loan that you guys were able to receive?
Yes, absolutely. They were able to receive a small business grant throughout the entire corporation, and they shared that, and that has been really helpful with maintaining the success throughout what we call the Southern Smile of the Cadence properties.
Good. I want to leave. We're going to end the call, but I want to ask if there's any one last thought that you have that you want to share with other chamber members or businesses at large. This has been recorded. We're going to place it on YouTube, send it out to our chamber members, also share it on our social media. Is there one last thing that you would like to say about Moliver or just the region in general?
If you don't mind, yeah, thank you for that. Again, thank you for the opportunity, Bill. I really appreciate it. Bria, it's really nice to meet you. I did want to mention for the month of February, I'm doing a food drive in my office for Ada Jenkins, Loaves and Fishes. And, there's a lot of people that are very blessed and very busy. But I think we mentioned this before the call, but there's a lot of people that need help. So,
Sure.
If you see fit and you're in the neighborhood, I'd love you to stop by. I'd love you to drop off some food. And at the end of the month, it's all going to go to Ada Jenkins. So again, thank you for the opportunity, Bill.
And Seth, thank you for what you do. You've always been somebody who gives back to the community. So
thank you very much. Thank you.
Bria, any last thoughts about the Huntersville community in which you are, or the Lake Norman region? Any last thoughts about what Cadence is doing?
Yes, absolutely. Again, thank you as well. Pleasure speaking with the both of you guys and the Lake Norman community. Our Cadence property has been really, really involved with just making sure that we can be solution providers to anyone who's even considering senior living. It's an overwhelming process, so we just like to be able to point you in the right direction and be a resource, whether that's our community or if that's connecting you with some of the other properties in the area. One last thing that our community is doing, just as we've taken note of some of the challenges that families are having, we've partnered with Elder Life Financial Group. That way, those people who are teetering, selling their home, or just need a little bit of veterans benefits, tax deductions, or a bridge loan to even get into the community, that's something that we have just taken initiative this month, and we would be more than happy to support you in that way.
Well, I want to thank both of you for taking time this morning to share a little bit about your organizations, Moliver Chiropractic, Cadence Living, and explaining a little bit about what you do, the services you provide, and also a little bit about how it's a great community in which to have your business, to live, and to work. So thank you very much for taking your time with the Lake Norman Chamber of Commerce's member, and have a great weekend.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Bill. Thank you. Have a great day.
See everyone.
All right, bye.